Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. It is now becoming the end of November, and that means it is time to review my current ink pen combinations and see how I'm ranking them. So I'm going to continue on with the system I've been doing, which is ranking the pens 1 through 7, 1 being the best, 7 being the worst, quote unquote, and see kind of like how I feel about each one of these writing utensils for this month. If you missed my original currently inked video where I talked about what pen had what ink, I will have a playlist in the description and I will also leave it up in the cards. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just get started with the first pen, which was my Traveler's Company Brass with a fine nib, which was inked with Robert Oster's Blood Moon. This pen ended up being my 7 of 7, so the bottom of the pack. And the only reason is because I just didn't write with it. I wrote with everything else so much more. I think I just wasn't feeling the red ink, which is sad because it's a beautiful dark red color and it does have a little bit of shading even in this fine nib. I didn't reach for it. I love this pen though. I will never get rid of this pen. It has patinaed beautifully since I've gotten it and it's a great writer every time. It's just with the group of pens that I had this month, I wrote with it the least amount, so that is why it is the bottom of the pack. The next pen I had inked up was my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande 2.0 in Sunflower, and this one has an extra fine nib, and I had it inked with 𝗙𝗃 𝗁𝗵𝗿. This pen and ink combination I ranked 4 out of 7, and that's mainly because I used about half of the ink in the barrel, which actually is quite a lot considering the ink reservoir in this bad boy is pretty big. But I would definitely say I think what made this more middle of the pack for me, besides that it was just half used, is the extra fine nib. I think as I am evolving with my pen choices and ink choices, I just am really drawn more towards like I guess a fine nib or even a medium, and the extra fine is kind of like slowly making its way out of my collection. I don't think I'll ever give this pen up just because it is stunning, and I do use an extra fine nib every now and then, especially when I need to write really tiny, like on super tiny grid, like 3mm grid. But I don't know, there was something about this ink combination with this pen. It worked really well, it looked really good, and it was perfect for what I used it for. I just think in the future I'm going to stick more towards the finer nibs if I buy new pens. But this one's staying in the collection, don't worry. The next pen I had inked up is my Jinhao 82 Frankenpen. I made a video on this, on how I made this. Anyways, it was inked up with 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗏's Earth, or eArth if you want, and it has a medium nib. This pen and ink combination was my 2 of 7. It was almost at the top, and I have to say, this pen itself is like $5. It is so inexpensive. And yes, the pen body doesn't always feel that awesome in hand. I would say it does feel pretty cheap in hand, but the writing experience was fabulous. I never had a problem. It never skipped. It never dried out. It did everything I wanted it to. I almost pretty much wrote it dry and had to save a little bit for this video. And 𝗬𝗏𝗏's Earth is so stunning. It is a beautiful color. I honestly like this more than the Ferris Press Oyster Hour, and it's kind of contending with Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, which has been discontinued. So I definitely think this is a stunning ink if you want to get a hold of it. It is so pretty. As for it being 2 of 7, it only made 2 of 7 because one of the other pens in this collection was just like, wow. But I wrote this one so often. I think I wrote with this one almost every day, honestly, because I was just so fun. It was so fun making little notes, and the fact that I made it a Frankenpen made it so much better. The fourth pen I had inked up for November was my Benu Iced Caramel Latte with a fine nib, and I had this inked with Ackerman's 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 the flashiest pen I have, and yes, it's just so fun. The Benu with the Ackerman Bookkeck tags was my 5 of 7. It was kind of like, I don't know, a little less than average, I guess. I hardly wrote with this pen, which is sad because it's such a beautiful pen, and honestly this ink is pretty nice too. I think my problem was it was just too dark for most of the time that I was wanting to write. Like, it was just kind of like, I don't know, I was really enjoying the other colors I had and I just didn't reach for this one. Kind of like the Traveler's Company pen. But with this one, I think the fine nib with the 𝗏𝘃𝗃 tags did really good. Like it showed a lot of the different brown shading that it has, and it didn't sheen at all, which it does have a minor sheen in the ink. So maybe in a broader pen it would have sheened, but overall it's a good match. It didn't meet the wow factor that I was hoping for, but I'm still happy with it. Yeah, I liked the other ones better in the collections that I did. The next pen I had inked up was my Laban Rosa in Lilac with a medium nib, and this one had 𝗍𝗶𝘁𝗄𝗎𝑅's polar lights in it. My Laban and 𝗍𝗶𝘁𝗄𝗎 combination turned out okay. It was my 6 of 7. It was honestly pretty much bottom of the pack besides the Traveler's Company pen, and it's a shame. I did write with this one actually pretty often, and I did use quite a bit of the ink inside of it. It's just the skipping that I experienced when writing with this was so annoying, and I feel like I've had problems with this pen ever since I got it, and yeah, it's kind of disappointing to me. It's a beautiful pen and it's a beautiful ink, and the combination was okay. It's just the skipping ruined it for me. I will definitely say though, if you get this ink, the shimmer does disperse very evenly through all of the writing and looks stunning when you flip through the page. It is a gorgeous black shimmery ink. It honestly, it's just so pretty. I would debate on getting a bottle of this one, honestly, if I didn't have so many other black inks to go through. But it's just, yes, it's just the pen. I think the pen needs assistance in some way, and I have to figure out what to do with that. But yeah, it's my 6 of 7. The next pen I had inked up is probably my most cherished pen, and is actually my newest pen as well. This is the Pilot Vanishing Point Taiwan 30th Anniversary Edition, and I have number 426 of 600, and I just have to say, this is my number one before I even write with it. It's just, yes, I just love this pen. So if you watched my Grail video about this pen, you will probably understand 100% why I ranked it 1 of 7. I have been on the hunt for a pen like this for a few years, and honestly, I was so happy when this one got released. I will say in terms of writing and ink and everything, this is a medium nibbed pen, 18 karat gold, and I did ink it with 𝗏𝘃𝗃𝗏𝘁𝗏𝘃𝗃 Yosemite Green. And the match is okay. It's not spot on, but it is a nice dark foresty green color in the pen, and the ink I think was a little too bright for it, but it's still really close. The writing experience is fabulous. If you've never written with a Pilot Vanishing Point, either the Decimo or the standard Vanishing Point, the nibs are very smooth and buttery, and they have almost like a bounciness to them when you push down. You get a little bit of line variation. They're so stunning. Yes, I would definitely say if you have a pen store near you, try this pen out and you'll probably fall in love. Otherwise, you may be like the few minority of people who don't care for them because of the pen placement of the little clip, but whatever. This is definitely my number one, and I don't think anybody is surprised if you've been following my channel for a minute. And the last pen I had inked up is my Narwhal Horizon in Twilight, and this has a double broad nib, and I inked this up with Dominant Industries Autumn Forest. For my Narwhal and Dominant Industry combination, I gave this a 3 out of 7, and it is only because I wrote with the Jinhao and the Pilot VP more, but this combination is chef's kiss. It was so perfect. It was a sparkly green ink, and this is a sparkly green pen, and it was just so pretty. I wrote with this one constantly, honestly. It was so much fun, and I actually enjoyed this ink so much. I ended up buying a bottle halfway through the month because I was just like, I'm gonna make it through this sample too fast. I'm gonna need to buy a bottle. I already know it, and I'm so glad I did. This was actually a recommendation from a few of you viewers, so thank you so much for this one. I am so happy with it, and yeah, I can't say more. It's just a great combination. I really enjoyed this one, and we'll definitely be re-inking it in this pen again. Alrighty, that is it for my currently inked progress report. I definitely enjoyed my time with my A Night in the Forest theme. These are all colors I typically gravitate towards when I'm writing, and I think I kind of showcase that still, even with my rankings, considering I ranked the more green and brown ones higher than anything else. But anyways, I definitely enjoyed this combination of ink and pens, and we'll be re-inking some of these again for sure. If you are interested in any of the other currently inked videos I've done or progress reports, I will have a playlist in the description, and I will also link it up in the cards. And then also I will link my ink swatching playlist down there, which is where I go through all the different inks in my collection. We've been making it through color families right now, and I'm really excited to showcase some new colors to you guys here in a little bit. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But I want to thank you so much for watching, for joining me here today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy Monday, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.